Hi, I'm Jeremy and welcome to your first online lecture for Kinetic Image and Text. I just started with a video for a band called Justice. The song, if you didn't realise, is called DANCE. It's one of my favourite videos. I guess it encapsulates what this unit's about. It's about motion design, but also considering a really strong, powerful use of text. And it's a beautifully executed video. It actually won lots of awards when it came out, and it came out in 2007. It was groundbreaking because it used After Effects, the software, in a really powerful way, and it's influenced a lot of other videos afterwards. It's the sort of stuff that we see all the time now, but it's really interesting kind of digging into the history of this field, because we can sort of see some beautiful examples in the past, and it's not all about the design of today. I'll be showing lots of different videos as we go through this unit, highlighting things from the past as well as contemporary design, hopefully to inspire you as well as teach you some approaches to use and apply. And it's going to be a really fun unit, and I really hope you enjoy it this semester. First, it's probably worth talking about myself. I'm a designer who's worked in many different areas for about, probably close to 30 years, which is pretty scary. What's really interesting is I started out in graphics and typography. I worked for the surf industry, doing a lot of graphics, moved into t-shirt design, board design, got a job in the music industry, and that allowed me to move from city packaging and posters and stuff like that into videos as well. And I think that's really interesting that in design, you don't have to be defined by one specific area. If anything, it's really important to be versatile as a designer and be excited by design in a lot of different areas and explore that. And that's certainly what I've tried to do. I'm working in design thinking and co-design now, which is actually where we actually work with stakeholders. It could be people with disabilities, it could be Indigenous cultures, it could be just people who are using a service like prisoners or people who are going through trauma, and engaging them in design solutions. So the designer's not always coming up with the answer. You'll probably find out a bit more about co-design as you go into your major project unit in the visual communication strand, and hopefully I'll get to talk to you about that as well in experimental visual communication if you do that next semester. Yeah, so I've been working in areas like fashion, creative direction. I've done a lot of illustration work as well, but I've also moved into interior design as well. And I think the thing is to be really fearless. Once you get an understanding of aesthetics and how to work as a designer and understand the design process, it does become very easy to explore new fields. And so please don't be daunted by the fact that all of a sudden everything's moving in this unit. And before, we've been dealing very much with perhaps static graphic design. It is really, really interesting, and you'll see that there's so many possibilities in the way that you can express and communicate in this field. I will bring up, though, the elephant in the room, which is last week you saw a video from me, and it was the welcome video, and I didn't have this on my forehead. So this behind me is the creature that actually created that scar that you can see on my face. My very beautiful dog who tackled me while I was on a beanbag when we were playing. So just to let you know, that's why I have this, and hopefully it won't be here on my forehead next week. Okay, so moving on, what are we going to cover in the lecture series today? Essentially, we're going to do an introduction to the unit, and this is going to be, I guess, scoping what kinetic image and text is, as well as just the field of motion design. And we are very much moving beyond just text and image, but the whole area of motion design is what we'll be exploring this semester. And we won't be just exploring it on a screen. We'll be looking at how motion and animation and video can be designed and executed outside of the screen. So in public spaces, installations, signage that are outdoors, at music events, light shows and stuff like that. So you'll find that the first assessment is very much based around screen design, and then the second assessment, you can go in any direction you would like with this unit. I'll probably cover a lot of the course content just really succinctly to get you an idea of what's ahead for you. So we'll go through the unit map. We'll also show you some preview of some of the stuff we'll be looking at and so forth. what we'll be doing in this lecture series too is breaking it down into little chunks. So you're not getting a 1 hour lecture, you'll actually get a series of sort of micro lectures. So some of them might be a bit long, and it'll really kind of segment the different areas that we're going to cover in this week's lecture or lecture series. So let's start by not having me tell you what motion design is, but let's look at some motion design and get a bit of a further understanding of this field we're about to explore.
Je vais vous expliquer un truc.
So I guess the really important takeaway from this is it is actually a very exciting time to be a visual designer. We're actually in this environment at the moment where everything is moving. If you go online now, every banner, every message is kinetic. And this is really changing the practice of graphic designers. All of a sudden, we're almost, filmmakers to a, degree with what we're doing. We certainly can't think of ourselves as static designers anymore, and working in this area is a kind of required skill set now. But it is also a really exciting area to be working in. So essentially, motion is now a key component of our complex contemporary visual landscape, and we as designers have to learn how to communicate with it. Motion kinetic graphic presents a set of unique creative challenges that combine the language of traditional graphic design with the dynamic visual language of cinema into a hybridized system of communication. So this is really what we'll be exploring, I guess, theoretically and then in practice in this unit. We'll be looking at how we can build upon all the skills that you've got in your prior units and kind of developed in the area of graphic design, which tends to be static, and then how we can start to engage and become literate with the principles and design principles of filmmaking and adopt that in these new contexts. And some of that is not about making videos so much, but it might be about looped animation and other sort of contexts as well. So it's really a new type of literacy and form of communication that we'll be exploring. And I guess these graphics Both kind of say what motion design is. They say it a little bit differently though, but they give us a good sense of the fields that are coming together in this unit. It's that idea that there's elements of animation, elements of art, and I think that video I showed at the beginning, the Justice clip, is a great example of a commercial piece of design that is bordering on art. And I think most really good design does border on art. So certainly I would encourage you with this unit to explore your artistic potential and your artistic streak with the sort of stuff you're creating. We've got there on the image on the left, also it talks about filmmaking being an overlap, as well as design, which I guess is the principal field that most people in this unit are coming from. If we look at the other graphic, again, it's this idea of different segments, art, graphics, design, all coming together for this exciting new field. So this unit is just going to offer an exploration, very much a foundational start to the rapidly expanding area of kinetic design and motion graphics. It's going to take into account theoretical questions as well as really think, how do we become practitioners? What is creative professional practice? What are the skills that we need? What are the technical abilities that we need to have? All of that is going to be covered in this unit. So in looking at this area, we're going to span a lot of different types of design. It's not just titles on a screen. We'll be looking at ideas and approaches for interaction design, product interfaces, kinetic data visualizations, moving typography as well, and TV and film title design, which most people think of when we talk about kinetic image and text. We'll also be looking at this idea of brand building and how that requires now motion-based design as well. For instance, like motion-based logos and all sorts of different types of logo systems that are kinetic. We're also going to look at narrative storytelling, just, animation and the idea of bringing characters to life. We're also going to look at the use of motion design in exhibits and environments, video gaming, social media design, and of course AR and VR, which are huge areas of growth. And because I come from originally the music industry, we're going to have a look at a lot of music videos. It's one of my favourite areas of design, and I think it's really one of those areas where art meets design and you can really go wild. And what's really interesting is your second assessment will be in any of those areas. I think it's really important for you to find your special groove, I guess, in this area. So it's very much a self-directed brief. You decide where in motion design you'd like to design for the second assessment after being introduced to all these different areas, and you get to explore that. But I'll be talking more about that sort of side of the unit as we go through the lecture series. I guess I just want to reiterate how important this unit is for you in building a career as a designer. It is emerging as a more and more important skill to have to be a motion designer. It's where you can actually make a lot of money. And here's an example of an ad. These are areas that are so in demand that our students are going straight into industry and getting really, really good jobs. And it's about having a young, edgy aesthetic and applying it across a lot of different contexts. There's a real attractiveness about young students going into the industry because they bring in new blood, new ideas and new energy. So I want you to sort of, I guess, make the most of this unit and really kind of realize you're on the cusp of having a very exciting career, and this is a great building block for that career. Most of you are probably doing the visual communication degree. Some of you might have done this unit as an elective, so I guess I just want to acknowledge that we will have a bit of a mixed cohort. I think that's fantastic. And, we have some people that are from the BCI, so they're doing a Bachelor of Creative Industries. They might be specialising in graphic design, and this is one of the units that they've elected to do. What I've got here is the map for the visual communication students. So you can see the little animated thing here is semester 1 of your third year is when most people are doing kinetic image and text. And so hopefully a lot of you will know each other already. We're going to learn through some group projects at the beginning, but they won't be accessible. They'll be skill-based activities just to get used to some software. So that'll be an opportunity to meet new people who are in the class as well. But we have a really sort of smallish group as well, which is nice. We have just 4 classes, which is great because we're kind of all having all of our classes on Thursdays. You'll have access to multiple tutors and you'll get to see each other's work as well. I will be showcasing some work from different classes so you can see what your peers are kind of doing as well. I think that's really important to sort of share, and that's something that'll be happening down the track with the semester. Just to, I guess, continue on with this idea of why this is a real growth area and why it's really valuable to get skill sets, I've just grabbed a few sort of facts from a whole lot of different places, I guess, to kind of, really solidify that idea that this is really rapidly changing, this environment, and we are becoming more and more video-based. I've got a reference here that Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook creator, believes video is a critical part of the future. The sheer volume of video content online is growing exponentially, and these stats demonstrate this. 81% of businesses use video as a marketing tool now. This is up from 63% over just the last year. 6 out of 10 people would rather watch online videos than television. Mobile video consumption rises by 100% every year. By 2022, online videos will make up more than 82% of all consumer internet traffic, 15 times higher than it was in 2017. A Facebook executive predicted that their platform will be all video and no text by 2021. Not sure if that's going to happen, but we are definitely moving there. And if we look at, platforms like TikTok, completely video driven. 72% of customers would rather learn about a product or service by way of a video. That's really interesting for us as designers, communicating brands. Snapchat users watch 10 billion videos each day, and video campaigns on LinkedIn have 50% view rates, which is huge because a lot of stuff, different campaigns get ignored on social media because we're bombarded by so many things. So again, some reminders of why this is a really great area to explore and great for building a career. It is a diverse interdisciplinary field, so it will have its unique challenges. Learning motion literacy is fun and interesting, but learning the technical skills on platforms like software like Adobe After Effects and so forth can be quite challenging. It's probably the most difficult Adobe software to learn, but that's because there's so much that it can do. And I've just got this interesting quote here by John Krasner, which really is what you're starting to learn in this unit is designing with a new 4th dimension, the idea of time. Time is now, a design principle to understand and apply. And it's been recognised as a vital force in visual communication as this field has grown. All of a sudden, as designers, we design with time as well as visual elements, which is really exciting. So thank you for coming or viewing this very first part of our Week 1 lecture series. In the next section, I'll go into a bit more information about the unit itself and how it's functioning and what the assessments are, and hope to see you again soon.